Though J.K. Rowling went to great efforts to establish that it was love rather than any hex or curse or charm that was the most powerful force in the wizarding world she created, she also made sure to furnish her world with wizards of incredible skill and power. And though it's terribly Slytherin of any fan to be particularly bothered about how great your ability as a wizard is, it's still interesting nonetheless. Luckily, there are some of us in Salazar's house who just need to know how the wizarding world's finest and most fearsome sorcerers stack up against one another. I'm Ben from What Culture, and here are the 10 most powerful wizards in Harry Potter. Number 10. Filius Flitwick. Don't let the size fool you. The smallest Hogwarts professor is actually massively underrated and a prodigiously gifted wizard. Beyond his professional credentials, Flitwick is widely proclaimed the greatest charms master alive, which is some billing, and clearly it helped him become an incredibly gifted duelist too, as he made a name for himself as such. Voldemort's Death Eaters found out exactly how skilled he was, as it was he who managed to take down the fearsome Antonin Dolohov in the Battle of Hogwarts, robbing the Dark Lord of one of his most dangerous weapons. Number 9. Minerva McGonagall. You don't get to be Dumbledore's most trusted lieutenant and his heir as the head of Hogwarts without doing a lot of things right. McGonagall's chief power comes in the form of transfiguration, the trickiest of all magical disciplines. She is not only an animagus, but also helped defend the castle in the Battle of Hogwarts by bringing suits of armor and desks to life to fight the Death Eaters. On top of that, she defeated both of the Carrows, and while Snape probably wasn't trying all that hard, she also held her own against him in a duel. More importantly, she also dueled with Voldemort alongside Kingsley Shacklebolt and Horace Slughorn, holding him to a stalemate. Number 8. Antonin Dolohov. He might look a bit foolish when he's the victim of a petrification charm in the Deathly Hallows, but there's no getting around the fact that Antonin Dolohov is Voldemort's most infamous Death Eater, despite only being a supporting presence in the books. The Dark Wizard is one of the most powerful and dangerous wizards in existence, having chosen to focus his prodigious skill for magic on harming his enemies as much as possible. He's a multi-time murderer, an awesomely skilled duelist who managed to best Alistair Moody in open combat and kill Remus Lupin, and most impressively of all, his signature purple spell seems to be one of his own creation. Number 7. Horace Slughorn. There's no finer indication of Slughorn's power than the Death Eater's repeated attempts to recruit him. He is a master potion maker, a hugely knowledgeable student of magic, including the dark arts, and his command of occlumency and transfiguration are close to unrivaled. After all, human transfiguration requires absolute mastery of the magic, and he's able to transform into a chair at will. Plus, despite his slightly bumbling appearance, Slughorn is also an impressive duelist, surviving the Battle of Hogwarts and helping Minerva McGonagall and Kingsley Shacklebolt fight with Voldemort in the aforementioned duel. Number 6. Alistair Moody. Though he's introduced at his lowest point, Mad-Eye was the most famous aura of modern times, and you don't get that sort of reputation without some serious credentials to back it up, even if it does cost you a couple of body parts. Moody was a one-man army against the Dark Arts, having personally sent many of Azkaban's most notorious criminals there, which is precisely why Lord Voldemort believed he would be guarding the real Harry Potter during the Battle of the Seven Potters. So in essence, it was his power that got him killed, and Voldemort had good reason to believe it. Mad-Eye was an expert in charms, transfiguration, defensive magic, herbology, and potions, and even in death, his protective charms on Grimmauld Place was so strong that even Voldemort couldn't penetrate them. Number 5. Bellatrix Lestrange. It is said that Bellatrix Lestrange is as formidable a dark arts user as the near-legendary Antonin Dolohov, though really her skill and danger surpassed even him. She was a supreme mistress of dark magic with a particular aptitude for the Cruciatus Curse and incredible skills as a duelist, having defeated several very highly skilled auras. She was the last Death Eater standing during the Battle of Hogwarts, aside from Voldemort himself, having killed Nymphadora Tonks to add to Sirius Black's murder earlier in the series. While she might have been somewhat annoying to Voldemort, he grew to respect her, which was the ultimate sign of respect of her power level, given his usual refusal to acknowledge human worth. Number 4. Severus Snape. Whether you believe he was a fundamentally bad guy or just a misunderstood romantic, there's no getting around the fact that Severus Snape was a profoundly powerful wizard. He was essentially a potions god, even teaching textbooks how to improve on their recipes, and was also an excellent duelist. On top of that, he could fly without a broom, something only he and Voldemort were capable of, and was said to be proficient with dark magic curses. In fact, he came up with a number of formidable spells of his own while still at school, including Sectum Sempra, healing spell Vulnera Sanenta, Langlock, Muffliato, and Levi Corpus. I hope I pronounced those correctly. Were it not for his love of Lily Potter, he could have arguably grown to the same grim stature as his Dark Lord. Number 3. Lord Voldemort. Although he was undone by love, a particularly hippie concept even in the wizarding world, Lord Voldemort had ascended to a power that was almost unprecedented amongst dark wizards by the time of his death. Even as a child, Tom Riddle was capable of great and terrible acts of magic, even without a wand. He grew to push the boundaries of magical ability in a way that was both unprecedented and terrifying, even when facing the Elder Wand or wielding a magic that he was not the master of. Plus, he was only one of 2 wizards capable of true, unassisted flight, and for goodness sake, he was so infamous that his name alone inspired terror. Number 2. Gellert Grindelwald. While there are some who will call Voldemort the Hitler of the wizarding world, the rather clumsy label actually belongs to Gellert Grindelwald, a nefarious murderer far more intent on the destruction and subjugation of inferior muggles than cementing his legacy. He started early, earning himself an expulsion from Durmstrang, where he had built a reputation as one of their most gifted students ever, when his twisted experiments came to light. But even without a complete education, he applied his genius-level intellect to learning things like rendering himself invisible without the use of an invisibility cloak, and exploding enemies with a mere slash of his wand. Also, since he managed to dupe the entire magical community into thinking he was really Percival Graves, he was clearly a champion hide-and-seek player. Number 1. Albus Dumbledore. If you're both the only wizard feared by Voldemort and the only one capable of beating Gellert Grindelwald in a duel, you probably deserve to be considered the most powerful wizard ever. As if there was any question of Dumbledore's power. The most famous of Hogwarts headmasters, Dumbledore was a living legend, complex but driven ultimately by pure love and a desire to allow light to prevail over darkness. He also defeated Grindelwald, inspired fear in the Dark Lord, and bragged almost casually about how easy it would be to escape Azkaban. His morals may have been occasionally murky, but he was the master of death, having owned all 3 Deathly Hallows, and his magical ability knew absolutely no equal in his time or any other. And that's our list. Are there any other well-good wizards or witches we missed off? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can even follow me here on Twitter if you fancy. I'm Ben from WhatCulture, and thanks for watching.